So in today's Let's Doodle, I'm going to look back at some of my very first sketchbooks. Now these sketchbooks that I'm showing you these pictures from are over a year old. So when I started out my doodle journey, I was very much just trying to play around with the neurographic lines because I found them just so relaxing to do. And sometimes, even now, I'll go back to doing drawings like this because they don't require any thought and they are so relaxing. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to split my page up into two. It's not even, I apologise. And I'm going to show you two separate patterns. This one. And this one. So both of these are based on the Neurographic Style, and all you're going to need is your paper and your sketchbook. Doesn't matter what size your paper is for this, it's just about having a play. You can divide your page up if you want to make smaller sketches. You're going to need a marker pen, a gel pen or a fine liner, a drawing pencil and an eraser. You're also going to want some colour to add to the shapes. Now I'll probably end up using gel pen because it's just the most convenient thing to hand. As I've said before, these Let's Doodle videos are intended to be just basic introductions to help you get things down on paper. But as the months progress, I will progress on to some of the more complicated designs. In fact, I'm really keen to show you some of the zentangle florals and things like that. But we shall see how we go. So basically what I'm going to do is draw 5 wiggly lines across the page. Now I'm just going to scribble. I'm not going to think too much about it. I don't do this neurographic art in the official neurographic art way. Most of my work is based on the neurographic and zentangle style, but I don't follow either of them regimentally. So I'm just going to start at the top, finish down the bottom. Just a wiggly line. We'll have another one in the middle, and I'm consciously going to make this a little bit more loopy. And this one here, I'm going to do a combination of the two, a little bit wiggly and a little bit loopy. Now if you've got a bigger piece of paper, you might decide to put more lines on. Obviously if I was doing a full page, I'd keep going, spacing them evenly and not evenly. I think I'm going to add a fourth one just like here, and I'm just going to curve that one around to here. So now I'm going to draw 4 lines across the page. Again, we'll do a little wiggle. We'll do one that's a bit straight, do one with a bit wiggle, and do one that's a little bit straight. I haven't thought too much, had a rough idea, but just made it up as I went along. And that's the really nice thing about the neurographic style art. You can make it up as you go along, and somehow, most of the time, you end up with a pretty good picture. So the next thing to do is to round off all the corners, and that's very simple. I'll show you on one that's a bit easy to see down here. Make a curve, colour it in. Make a curve, colour it in. Everywhere where the lines touch, you want to make a curve and colour it in. Now it doesn't matter if your curves are small, like so. Doesn't matter if they're quite wide, like so. You can make it all up as you go along. And you can experiment on your pictures or just having shallow curves. You can experiment just having thick curves. And I think that's what I spent quite a lot of my initial drawings doing. So I'm going to go back up to the top here now, trying not to work over myself. I will round off all of the 4 corners as well. Now usually I'd use my gel pen for this, but I'm using the recycled coffee cup paper, which absolutely hates the gel pens. So I'm using my Unipin fine liner, which equally I dislike very much for colouring in sections. So yeah, I've yet to still find the perfect pens, the perfect papers, but I will get there, I'm quite sure. If you've got a preference for any particular paper or any particular pen, do let me know in the comments below. I'd be very interested in what you use to get the best results for you. So all you've got to do is carry on until you've filled in all of the corners on your page. If you're drawing along, then you can pause the video and restart it when you've finished, and I'll do the same here. So now I've coloured in all of the edges. Now there's one section down here that is very, very tiny, and I'm going to feel no bad feeling about colouring that in and just leaving it as a completely black section. So to make the very, very simple pattern, which is actually very effective, and you can use it as fillers in on other drawings as well, what we're going to do is take each section in turn, and we're going to look for the shallowest angle on each of the shapes. So this one's a right angle, and this one I would say is the shallowest angle I've got. And I'm going to draw a little curve in about 4 or 5 millimeters away from this bottom curve, and I'm going to add 4 lines following that curve, like so. Now on every section we're going to find that shallow section and draw 4 lines. Is it that one or that one? I think it's that one. Now I'm not going to measure these, I'm just going to look. There was a toss up between that one and that one on this section, but there's no rules really. This one is a bit too small for me to put any lines in, so I'm going to leave that one. Don't intentionally try to make these lines match up with the adjacent ones. We're not worried about that at all. But sometimes you'll find that they will. Sometimes you might find it a bit difficult to figure out which one's the shallowest section, but yeah, just go with it, pick a section and stick with it. You'll see here I've started going up this edge here, because the kind of rule that I've set in my head is that we'll take the shallowest section and draw 4 lines. But already you can see that it's completely transformed from just the plain neurographic page that we had. This one has very wide sections, but I'm going to pick this one here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, I'm not worried if my lines are wobbly, uneven. I'm just going with it because it's all about getting that confidence to put the pen down on the page, making some shapes, finding some patterns and colours that you really like. Again, this one's very small. I'm not going to worry about putting any lines in there. If you want to balance it out a little bit more, you can add some extra lines in, or you can just leave it as it is. I think what I'd like to do is just put a few extra ones in, because why not? just because I felt there wasn't enough on this side of the page. I think that'll do. I think that will do. Oh wait, no, maybe here. I'd always encourage you to look back at your work and just think about your composition and whether something needs a little bit extra. This bit here is looking a bit bare to me, so I am just going to put another lot of lines in there. Then all we need to do is add the colour. For small sections, I prefer using the coloured gel pens. I think they are just so easy to use and they're quite vibrant, and they do hold their colour very well as well. This one's just a blue zebra glitter doodles. So what I'm going to do is this first curve, I'm going to colour that in blue. Skip a section and colour the next one in. Now you can colour this in any way you want, and with whatever art medium that you choose. I do think that the bold bright colours work the best for the little details like this. I also very much like using the gold pen on this style as well. So I'll just carry on with this drawing, and when I'm finished I will start recording again, and you can see how such a simple pattern can give such effective results. So it's on a very small scale, but no pun intended, but you get the picture. How just a simple, very, very easy pattern can really transform a drawing. And I particularly liked it in the gold when I did this. I even filled in the tiny sections on this one back in book, oh, which book was this? Book 5, May 2024. But even today, you can see me using this pattern in some of my drawings because it just adds that little extra something and a pop of colour when you need it most. I really encourage you to try it with smaller sections and bigger sections on a bigger bit of paper, different colours, and see what works for you. So the second pattern that I'm going to show you is based on drawing some neurographic lines in pencil. So I'm just going to squiggle 1, 2, 3 on the page, and 1, 2, 3, 4 on the page, and I think we're done. Simple as that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to draw some shapes within each of these pencil sections. I hope they do come up on screen because sometimes when I draw in pencil they don't, but I have used my 4B pencil, so hopefully that will. So what we're going to do is we're just going to draw a blob inside that pencil section. We want nice rounded off corners like we would if it was a neurographic piece of work. But instead, we're just filling in these sections with a blob. Now, it's quite forgiving. If you go too far or up to the line like this, that's okay. Because when we come to do the next one, we'll just leave a bigger gap. We're basically just drawing in little pebbles, something on the table there, a bit of glue, that's not good. There we go, we've drawn pebbles around our neurographic lines, and what we can do now, we can either erase those lines with our rubber, or if you're using a dark colour you can just leave them and paint over them. So now we've got our bubbles, we want to draw another bubble inside. Now I'm leaving a slight gap, and I'm not worried if I go narrow or wide. But on each of these pebbles, we're basically just drawing a line. But if you do make a mistake and you go over the lines or something, just try and find a way to forgive yourself and carry on with the drawing. Don't give up, because it's all about practice. Right, now the next thing to do is we're going to divide up the inner sections just by drawing 3, 4 or 5 different lines. And I'm spacing these lines about a centimetre, slightly over a centimetre apart, but sometimes I will make the lines slightly diagonal and sometimes I'll make them straight. Now I will draw the lines across the shallowest part, so I don't want to draw them this way on this one. I'm going to draw them this way. And on this one I'm drawing them across the shallowest part. I'm not worried about them being perfectly lined up with the previous shape. In fact, this pattern is better when they're not perfectly lined up. Shallowest part on this one, this way or this way? I'm going to go with this way. Yeah, so sometimes it will be difficult to figure out which is the shallowest part, like this one. I mean, how do I figure it out? I mean, that way, that bit's quite longer. Yeah, it's quite difficult. So what I'm going to do is just draw my lines in anyway. Try not to think about it too much. Just draw the lines in, get it done. The more you overthink this work, the harder it becomes, and it's all about relaxation and enjoying the process. So let's not get stressy. Sometimes I'll turn my work just to make it easier to draw. It's a lot easier drawing a line like that than like that, so I'll just turn my work as I need to. So all I'm going to do now is round off the edges on these inner lines. So I'll show you on this one here. Just going to round off the edges, colour in any gaps. Like so. Now I find it much easier. Let me see if I can get a close-up view for you. So I find it much easier if I follow the line, then lift it up to make the curve, and then follow the line through. Otherwise you'll end up with these little really irritating start, stop, finish lines, like so, here. But if you just bring the line down and cover it up, it makes it so much easier. So bring the pen down the existing line and then curve it along to finish and colour in the section that is blank. It just gives a far smoother line. There. So on each of these sections we're going to do exactly the same thing. Round off all the corners. Round off all the corners. And colour them in. When you get a lump like that one, just bring your pen around, smooth it all off. So I will pause the camera shortly so that I can finish off these sections and give you a chance to catch up. But I will just say that this whole process of filling in these sections, because there are quite a lot of them, take your time, relax, don't rush, try not to think about the end result, and just really focus on what you're doing at the time that you're doing it. Keep your breathing nice and slow. Pop on a bit of relaxing music and enjoy the process. So I thought I would stop and just talk you through this bit. There's a line here that curves just on the edge of this one. I think I can get away with it, but I'm going to curve this off here and I'm going to curve this one off here to break up those sections. What I'm going to do is just thicken up a couple of these lines that I haven't drawn around yet, mostly there on the ends. I try and smooth out some of my less good finishes, like here. You can spend as much time as you want refining your work, and sometimes it's worth it, and sometimes, yeah, it's just about the practice. So I'm going to use a silver pen myself. You can use whatever pen you like. My favourite gold and silver gel pens are these Uniball Signos. I haven't tried any other more expensive ones, but I do prefer these. But I don't know that I've got enough in here to even finish this drawing. So I'm going to have to use one of my cheaper gel pens today. So all I'm going to do is colour in the outer section in silver. Very simple process. You don't have to colour yours in the exact same way as me. You can choose your favourite colours. I'm going to recreate a very similar version of the one I did in my sketchbook last year. If you try using any other art medium, you might realise why I like to use a gel pen for these detailed, small, fiddly sections. If you go over the line a bit here, don't worry, because you can come and touch that up later. Or if it's just your sketchbook and it's just practice, you can just leave it. I tend not to be too precious in my sketchbook. I often find that sometimes the mistakes, they teach me things for when I'm doing a better version, and if I leave the mistakes and the pencil lines in place, I can use those as a reference when I go to do a better version of the drawing. So I'm just going to carry on now. So I'm just going to carry on colouring in the outer sections on all of these pebbles, and I will join you again when I'm finished. Well, it would have been really good if I'd have remembered that the gel pens don't work on this paper very well before I'd started. So that was a bit like pulling teeth. But no, I've got there and I've finished outlining that in silver. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to fill in the background, and I think I've got enough of this blue glitter doodle gel pen, which incidentally does roll on this paper very, very well. I think it's because it's a slightly better quality. These ones were just from Hobbycraft, and these zebra gel pens are pretty good actually. I like them very much. So all I'm going to do is colour in all of the background in this beautiful, beautiful blue. And hopefully it's going to make the pattern really pop from the page. So what I'll do is I will continue colouring in all of this and pop back in a few seconds by the magic of video, and we'll take a look at the finished result. So there you go. It's really brought out the pattern from the page, and I hope you've enjoyed this slightly different Let's Doodle today, because I haven't shown you how to draw a nicely structured picture. I've just really focused on some patterns. So yeah, do let me know in the comments below if you'd prefer me to do more pictures, more fully composed pictures, or more patterns really. I love doing both of them, and doing this today has reminded me that these patterns are ones that perhaps I haven't used quite as much as I should have. But, you know, I'm also aware that, you know, our work progresses as we learn more. So yeah, do give me a thumbs up if you've made it this far. Your support is genuinely very much appreciated. And especially on days like today when I just want to curl up in bed and go to sleep, it really cheers me up. So yeah, thank you very much. I'll be back in 2 weeks' time with another Let's Doodle, and I will keep with my other videos in the meantime as well.